started, y'all. What's going on? I'm Kay.
I'm Chaz.
And we are Culture Content. We are here, baby. We are back for season 2. And we brought a special guest with us, Terry. Round of applause. We don't got our bam, because, we want to take this episode a little bit more seriously. Our topic today is mental health. People struggle with this all around the world.
We just want to give y'all, we know mental health is a real big topic these days, so we have an expert to talk about it, a professional. So we wanted to have her in season 1, but the way things go, it didn't happen this way. But, better late than never, so we're going to get it started. So, Terry, we appreciate you for coming to our show.
Yeah.
So
Please.
Tell us a little bit
about what you do.
Tell us about yourself and what you do.
Well, I am happy to be here. I am Terry Patillo, a licensed professional counselor here in the city of Pittsburgh. I've been in the mental health field for over 15 years. For half of that, I've been doing individual therapy, and for the latter half, I've had my own practice.
Nice. Nice.
So your own practice. I think she's her own business owner. She does not work for anybody.
Doesn't work for someone.
Yeah, let's just point that out there first.
Yes.
She's her own practice, meaning that's it. She has her own office, which is beautiful. By the way, I've been told. I've been told. So, if you ever need counseling or anything, please reach out. So we're just going to kick it off. I want to know first and foremost, how important is it for people in our culture to seek therapy or therapy just in general? Because I feel like we're battling with traumas that we don't even know about from a young age, whether it's been inherited by your parents or your aunties, uncles, whoever. I just feel like we bypass, we have some issues and we need it to be addressed. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's vital. It's vital. Folks don't give it enough attention and don't realize how much it impacts their life. I mean, we have all types of routine treatment for physical health needs, but mental health is just ignored. But it literally is what keeps us going throughout the day.
Right.
Like, we are responding to our everyday experiences, and it's all influenced by how we're doing internally.
Yeah, your attitude definitely projects how you move throughout the day. And like I said, you battle things. You wonder why you're waking up early and don't know how to address your anger.
Absolutely.
I think that even, especially when you're like a young adult, you have all these anger issues, and I think the biggest issue is knowing where to project your anger to, right? Because it's easy to get caught up in negative energy as opposed to applying that to something positive and getting further ahead in your life than to be caught in that nasty cycle. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a big thing, man. And we hope y'all acknowledge that, we want to bring y'all the best content professional. So please listen to the gems, because this is real. This is important for us in our culture.
For sure. So, being that we talking about mental health, was there anything in your life that happened that make you say, this is a career I want to pursue? Because obviously, when we're younger, we all was like, we want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or stuff like that. What made you want to pursue a career in mental health?
To be honest, I saw the need. So, I was in high school when I realized that this is the field that I wanted to go into. Earlier than that, I had experienced my own trauma. That it was my father's passing. That drastically affected my life and how I moved throughout the world. And I didn't realize it at the time, how impactful it was.
And we usually don't.
Yeah. But in high school, when you're sorting through what you want to do, starting to identify colleges and things. And I took a psychology class. And I was like, wait a minute, people learn about like I can study people's behavior and how they respond to their experiences. So from there, I was hooked, and I knew.
So how did you, when you acknowledged that you had the trauma with your father, did you acknowledge it, or was it not until you took the class you realized you had issues? Or?
It was well after that. I knew I was interested for a reason. I was just curious about people, and basically I was curious about myself, like how I'm responding to this, seeing how my siblings are responding to it, seeing how my external family, my extended family is responding to it, and it's all different. So I was curious about people in high school, and that's what led me to be interested in psychology. But it wasn't until schooling and my own personal work where I realized why I was curious and
exactly.
how impactful my father's death was. So it was, and I'm still, it's a forever process.
Yeah,
I'm still learning
process.
as I'm having new experiences, still learning how much that influenced me and how I think and how I interact with the world.
I'm glad you was able to bring everything full circle because you was feeling anger, but you didn't know what to do in order to, bring things together. So I'm glad that you did pick this field and be able to help people, along the way because like everybody's dealing with some type of mental health issues on their own. You know what I mean? Like I struggle with things on my own and we don't really have much people to seek out with, you know what I mean? Especially in our community. So we definitely need, your expertise or, people like you in the professional field to help us along the way for sure. Word.
So, people, we from New York, and you're from Pittsburgh. You're from Pittsburgh, right?
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh,
Be more.
Yeah,
gosh,
be
you
more.
want to build it? Oh man,
Okay.
it's dangerous out there. But nonetheless, so that's a good segue though. Like Baltimore, big larger cities, New York, LA, and not to say that there aren't cities in between that struggle with this, but I feel like the more people in your environment when you grow up, you experience just a lot more things, right? When you
urban.
country, you far spread and far few in between, right?
Yeah.
And in urban cities, you're like somebody's like right above you, right?
Right.
And
City life's
next-
way different than rural life,
Exactly.
suburban life, way different. Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you feel like, or do you feel like people in urban cities struggle more with PTSD and then people in suburban areas per se? And like, cause I know sometimes when I hear loud bangs or like booms, like I'm like, oh, like what's that? You know what I mean? Or like I always have my neck on a swivel. Like I'm always looking each and every way. But then you get out of the cities and you realize people don't really think or move like that. So what do you think is the difference between those two areas? And
Yeah, so I would say trauma is all around. So from city to suburban, it's different, right? And some traumas are more known, and folks will be easy to label them like this is a trauma, right? But I think some of the inner city trauma gets overlooked. You don't realize how much of an impact. Just even watching the news. I mean, you put the news on and it's like, this happened over there, that happened over there. And you're like, wow, I knew this person, I knew that. So it's more connected, it's more closer to you, and it's more frequent, constant. Even scrolling through your social media pages these days, you're seeing posts from loved ones that have been lost and folks that knew each other, that harmed one another. I mean, there's just all sorts of things. So I think it's just as prevalent in the world, but it's overlooked. And again, we don't realize how much it impacts us.
Right. Yeah, the behavior is like you said, we have certain behaviors that we do and don't realize what it stems from, right?
Absolutely.
And then you're like, why do I do that?
But you think it's normal.
Yeah, you think it's normal, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem, and it's really not.
Right.
So,
It's crazy. Like we normalize too much stuff in our communities, right? Like in the urban community, like I think we really have PTSD at times, And we spoke about that in another episode before. But no, another question I have is, why do you think it's such a big stigma for talk about mental health in our community? You know what I mean? I think it's like vulnerability. People don't want to seem vulnerable at times. Like
Absolutely, and trust too.
yeah.
I mean, you have to feel trust and you have to feel safe in order to feel comfortable getting to those vulnerable spaces. And just with the way society is, it's hard to experience that. So
Yeah, it's hard to put you. People take advantage of your weakness sometimes.
And then you
Your
tell people
politeness.
stuff and they run tell that. It's like, come on, man, I trusted you. You know what I mean? So you can't. Yeah, you're right. You can't even trust people.
yeah,
And
and that's
sad.
passed down through generations too.
Yeah.
We've been taught not to trust
That's people,
others.
right.
That too. You know what I mean? Like,
Outside of the fact that people give us reasons not to trust.
Right.
like let's not forget that though.
Right.
But
And that's with all trauma. I mean, a lot of trauma responses were developed in times when they were needed.
Right.
So they weren't necessarily maladaptive when we got them. needed to create safe spaces for ourselves because the world wasn't safe.
Right.
So we have them for a reason. It's just that they linger longer than we need them to. So, maybe I didn't trust. Maybe I have issues with trust because my environment was one,
exactly.
like you said, where
exactly.
folks weren't trustworthy and there was a lot of harm that was caused. But, when you venture out into other environments and you realize you don't need those mechanisms anymore, you got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Right. So did you realize that from going from Maryland to Pittsburgh, or were you like not old enough? Or
I was young, so I was 12
Okay.
when the transition occurred, and I wasn't aware of what was going. I knew something was wrong, and I knew things were very different.
Right.
And I internalized a lot of it. Didn't realize that I did.
Okay.
But it wasn't till years later where I really started to gain that awareness. Yeah. And that's what happens with trauma. So it really impacts the way you see the world, right? If you have a belief, for example, that I am not safe, that's going to show up in work. That's going to show up when you're at the grocery store. That's going to show up when you're interacting in your relationships.
Right.
So yeah.
That's so true. Because I used to teach this class on just aggression replacement training with juveniles, and we spoke about how sometimes your irrational beliefs will affect the relationships you have with people. So if you think that every time a person bumps you, you may think they want a problem, right? But
What's
we're
up? What's
Right.
up?
you want a problem,
Right.
but
It's good.
it can really be just a
What it
mistake.
is.
Yeah.
Coming from
Right.
our neighborhood, if somebody
Right.
step on your shoes, right? It's like, oh, he don't like what I got on. He want a problem, so therefore I need to fight. But those irrational beliefs can lead to just bad things happening in the world.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, we don't need to fight people no more because
No.
they stared at us wrong or they grilled
Oh,
us.
that right there, like
that
people
is-
just.
I feel like that was probably one of the worst generational curses for us, especially growing up in the city.
If you looking at somebody for 3 consecutive seconds, it's like, yo, you want problems.
it's a problem. You alright?
Right, you alright.
is not like, are you okay? Or
Right.
you alright is like, what's up? Like you ready to square up and stuff like that. So, but it's just a lot of things that we just do, and it's just like, why do we do that? Especially why do we do it to each other? You know what I mean? Our own
Yeah,
people,
especially to each other, yeah.
Because if somebody else did it, that's not a part of our culture, they'll be like, hey,
We won't have our guard up as much. When it comes to each other, it's like now you want to fight, and I don't understand that. We got to do better.
Yeah, we have to break through those, and I feel like that's part of PTSD and
Absolutely.
Exactly.
mental, just being mentally aware of like, yo, why am I doing these negative things to people that I don't even know? So,
Right.
yeah.
And I want to be clear. I think it's important to still honor where they came from. I said, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Certainly, if you don't need those techniques or guards anymore, then by all means do the work to change that behavior. But it's there. It was there when you needed it for a reason. Right. So.
And sometimes you got to shake it off.
Right.
So,
Right.
Being that there's a lot of trepidation with the black community with mental health, when you're seeking out a therapist, what are some good qualities to look for?
I would say someone that you can connect with, and that's going to be different across the board. Folks, I always encourage folks to do consultations with therapists. You can call. Most folks will give like a free consultation for like 15 to 10 minutes, and just talk to them. See if you connect. See if you feel comfortable. If you feel safe. Lots of folks look for commonalities. Like I have a lot of folks who call me just because I'm black, but I'm like, don't. Certainly, I recognize.
I would too.
There's definitely value in that, and I appreciate it, and I feel honored to be able to create a space for folks for that reason. But there are also other things that you should look for as well. Like certainly, again. That is very valuable and very important.
Well, let's be real. Just to touch on what you said, like, I have a therapist. He's definitely black. You know what I mean? And I chose that. My choosing behind that was because, like, I don't feel somebody outside of my culture would be able to understand what I'm talking about or what my day-to-day struggles are. Like, me being a black man, I can't go to an Asian or a Caucasian person or whoever, you know what I mean, discuss what my issues are. I'd rather have someone who's like, yo, you clearly as dark as I am, you know what I mean? You know what it feels to wear my skin. You know what it feels like to just to be aware, be downplayed, blackballed, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like that's an easier connection. And if that works for you, then fine. And if it doesn't, then that's on you. Like, this your own choice. We're not saying
you have to go with black people, but if you feel more
Exactly.
comfortable, because I had a I didn't have a black therapist once upon a time, and I didn't really like the interactions we had. You know what I mean? I felt like, obviously, a therapist is supposed to listen and, give you guidance or whatever the case may be, but I feel like she didn't help me at all. Like, at all. And I was just like, all right, well, I think I'm done here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
another thing that I will say, too, and I always encourage my clients to do this, is to speak up.
yeah.
If you feel that something isn't going in a way that you need it to, feel free to say that.
Yeah.
If there's something that I'm doing or saying in our sessions that's causing you to feel unsafe, let me know. Hopefully I'm not doing anything to cause someone to feel unsafe. But people are coming from different environments and different spaces where, I might not know something I'm saying is harmful. So please tell me. I always say that to my clients. Like, if there's something that, we haven't talked about that you desire to talk about, let me know. Like, we are not here for me. I always say that. We're here for you. This is your hour. This is your space to explore whatever you need to. So speak up so that we can create the space that you need.
Right. It's funny you say that, because when I did speak my mind, that's when I was like, yeah, I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
I definitely spoke my mind about some things, and just her answers to it was just like, I knew it wasn't my fault, and she put it like it was my fault, and I was just like, thank you. It was real eye opener for me. I needed that, so I can never come back to you again.
Okay.
So that's exactly what happened. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot of therapists out there.
yeah.
Certainly, we need more, but there are a lot of therapists out there. So definitely, make your best effort to connect with someone who you feel connected to. Hopefully, that wasn't your last.
That was
go round.
I mean, this was years ago. This is a time when I was going through a lot of transitions in life. I mean, I'm still going through a transition, but this is a little different. So now, what I'm looking for now is we can talk off camera about that as well.
Okay,
so,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
free therapy session.
Right.
Like, by the way, I was dealing with this. And,
what are your thoughts?
what are your thoughts? Help me out. But no, I mean, like, all jokes aside, like, therapy is great because they really help you break down, like, the issues. And I feel like they isolate the issues, make you talk about that issue. Because sometimes when you go to a therapist, it's like, oh, you're going off, you rambling, and then you like, that's why you don't know how to control it, because it's just like chaos in your mind, right? And then a therapist, I feel like, dissects it. All right, let's start here. You know what I mean? Figure out why this is happening, and then you answer this one question, and then like, as the time goes on, the more questions they ask you, I feel like, oh, this is starting to make more sense. You know what I mean? This is why there's
you
so
do
much
this
chaos.
because of this reason,
Exactly.
and then everything kind of connects.
And then they bring it back full circle for you. So like, let's not shy away from seeking mental health, because we need it. And don't be afraid to put your feelings out there. Like, not every experience is gonna be good, but like, you got to be able to tear that wall down and get past that trauma, or get past the PTSD or whatever you're going through, your generational curse. Like, the time is now to break it. So do what you got to do. And the last thought is just be aware that you may have some mental health issues that you may not even know about. Yeah. So
those irrational beliefs is real.
Yeah.
We are here just talking about mental health, mental illness. Just a really important topic, for us to go over. And just the conversation that we knew we would just want to have like a breakthrough with people, to let y'all know, like, we really care about the culture. We really think about, like, what's going on in our community, because we want to give back. We want to educate people on all things related to life, whether it be taxes, whether it be life insurance, whether it be mental health. So with that being said, what are some warning signs of mental health? Because, we're talking about it, but people are probably just now like, how do I know? You know what I mean? If I am having this issue. So, just some examples that you've seen, maybe. You don't have to be too specific. I know confidentiality and stuff. But like, just what are some warning signs of mental health issues or mental illness?
Yeah, I would say, even, so everyone has mental health, right? And we're on a journey. There are times when it's more challenging in times when things seem to feel more normal. So I would say when you start to notice shifts, it's helpful to start paying attention
Shifts
to
in
it.
like your energy, or
Shifts
like
in your
attitude?
energy and your emotions, like if they start to feel overwhelming.
Or if you feel dependent on something.
Yeah, if you feel dependent on something like a substance, or even, if you're struggling to gain support from your environment.
Do you think a lot of people that probably watch this or whatever, probably smoke weed, right? Let's be real, like a substance, right? Do you think smoking weed is like, you should be aware maybe of like smoking too much because you're trying to like cover something up emotionally?
Absolutely.
Or suppress your emotions.
Yeah, suppress.
Absolutely.
Like, isn't that addiction like bad? Is that something that you should be aware of?
So the biggest thing I would look at is if it's decreasing your functioning. So if you find that you're not able to do the things that you were able to do, so if you're not able to get up and go to work, if you're not able to function in your relationships as you desire, if you start to see deficits, certainly that's when it becomes an issue where it might be labeled as an addiction.
Right.
Also, folks tend to depend on it for coping,
Right.
which isn't the most helpful coping
Right.
skill. So if you find that you are needing it to complete your daily activities, that's also not the
Sorry, I
not
didn't
as
mean
helpful.
to smile. Like, this is serious
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
that's real
it's a very
talk though,
serious
because I
topic.
was thinking about it too. Like,
Cause honestly, I'm thinking about it for myself. So I'm like, all right, I have a abuse issue, but like I get up and go to work every day, so I'm like, I'm not that bad, you know. Sorry, it's serious. Yeah. I don't mean to like laugh about it, but like it's real though. You know what I mean? As long as it's not affecting your daily life duties, like you should be okay, right? Like.
So I would say if you're using it to numb, or if that is your primary coping skill, I would say that that's not the most helpful.
so
There you
I have
go.
a question then. So like, I think sometimes I'm naturally irritable at people. Like I
Me
get
too.
irritated a lot, and
But if I'm mellowed out,
Yeah.
I'm like, I could tolerate people.
yeah,
Like,
but like
more.
even like I think sometimes with me it go back and forth, right? Because like people do stuff to irritate you, like that's just what it is. Like, but I think
Everything irritates
at
me.
times like where I'm real irritable and like I may not had anything all day, and then once I do what I do, I feel I'm like I could take on the world now. Obviously from what you said, that ain't the way.
Yeah, because that's kind of how dependence is formed. So if you rely on that, then you're not giving yourself the opportunity to actually develop skills to deal with that irritability
So you're just gonna be annoyed for the rest of your life.
until you're able to
Yeah,
to
cope with
participate.
it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like I'm always, I don't know, like, I'm an Aquarius, and I feel like I'm always, so are you, right?
I'm
Yeah.
Aquarius.
So, but I feel like I'm always annoyed at people, because people just
Don't
be...
y'all birthdays like the same day?
The 26th of January.
26.
It's lit. Cause I'm about to say, cause
I knew you was an Aquarius, but this is the same day.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
That's love right there. Look
See,
at that.
culture content.
Yeah.
Come
no.
full circle. Come full circle. That's
But
what
no, like I feel like I'm irritated a lot, and not even just at work, because I feel like grown people should know what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean when it comes to work, and like me, sometimes I have supervised people, and it's like I shouldn't have to tell you what to do. I don't. I mean, you know your job. We spoke about this before. Why do I have to continue helping you or telling you what to do? But I think that's an issue for.
I'm about to say, because that may not be you. That may just be the person.
Yeah, but no, I think overall, and it's a bigger issue. But I don't think it's me. But I'm definitely irritated by it because sometimes I gotta clean up after people, after clean up people mess or put out people fires that they started. So I think that comes with that. But we got on a whole different topic. But
Yeah,
it is what it is.
We here. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. Let's put it out there. Suicide, right? Suicide is the second cause of leading of death amongst people between the ages of 10 and 34. I'm definitely in that bracket. I've been fortunate enough to not have to deal with that as much as other people, you know. But why do you think that people from 10 to 34 struggle with that? Because in my mind, I'm like, in your 20s, you should be like...
That's like the prime of your life.
Yeah, you're in the prime. You having the most fun, you know what I mean? You're living life. You're trying to figure things out. But at 30, I realized, like, 20 is the decade to figure out what you want to do and experiment on a lot of different things, you know? And then, like, by the time you hit 30, like... You can reinvent yourself every day, right? But like by the time you hit your 30s, I feel like that's the time where you should know, like, all right, this is exactly what I want to do. But I don't. In my mind, it's not. Those are not the years. Maybe, but let me hear what you think. You know what I mean? But I took my 10 to 34 like completely different than that. So to find out that that's the second, you know, suicide is like the second, you know, highest death rate, whatever. Like, why do you think that is?
I would say hopelessness is probably, not probably, but hopelessness is what tends to lead folks down that path. A lot is happening in 10 to 34, you said?
Yeah, 10 to
34.
10
to 34. A lot of is happening during that time. That's where folks tend to grab hold of their identity. That's where there's lots of expectations, societal expectations of, you know, what are you going to do with your life, figuring all those things out during that time. And if folks aren't meeting those expectations, they tend to internalize a lot of that. And then, in general, there's so much trauma in the world today. It's more easy to isolate, especially with the pandemic. A lot easier to sort of just go inward. So I would say a culmination of those things. Trauma, hopelessness, it sort of creates this...
and that timeline that you said, like, people who are focused on, all right, I got to have this by I'm 25 and have this by I'm 28. So now that I'm thinking about it after your answer, it's just like, yeah, people put their own stresses on themselves, and that could probably lead to, like, some of those issues that you were just referring to. Like, you know, because if I said I wanted a house and a car and a whip by 24, and then that didn't happen when I was 24, like, I would be probably trying to rush and figure out, like, see, I got to get this figured out ASAP, you know what I mean? When it's like, that's not what life is.
It's funny you say that, because literally we talking about anxiety with adults. You know what I mean? You could feel anxious that you're not in a certain place of your life. Like I literally said off camera, like, I thought at 28 I was going to be on top of the world on Mount Everest. You know what I mean? But, you know, at 28, I was literally going through another transition of life, and I had to start over. So I think, you know, when it comes to anxiety, like, how big is that, you know, with adults, being that, you know, you had this one vision of yourself, you know, 10 years before that, but now you get to the age where you thought you're supposed to have everything together, and you really don't. I can see how suicide rate could, you know, raise and stuff like that, but what are some things to help you with anxiety as you know, becoming an adult?
Yeah, so I'd say it's helpful to tackle it from two different directions. Certainly anxiety deals with a lot of thoughts cycling, right? And thoughts about things that have happened in the past, thoughts about things that you're preparing for in the future. So hitting it from a cognitive route can be helpful. Dealing with those thoughts, what's helpful, what's not helpful, how can you change the way that you're thinking about your experiences. Also, a lot of anxiety is held in our bodies. You know, our heart rate increases, we struggle breathing. So doing things to physically address it as well.
Okay.
So, like, working out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working out definitely is
whenever
something.
you angry, just like, yo, go hit a bench press or something. Pretty sure you'll get tired if you do enough reps at all.
Or hit the punching bag.
You know what I mean? Go boxing, you know what I mean? Right. You know what I mean? How do you get that aggression out? In the gym, get it out.
Right, no,
in the gym.
In the gym. Like, culture content is not telling you how to go out and start punching people. You know what I mean? But make sure you go hit the gym, or if you got a workout place at the crib or something like that, you go handle that. Don't hit people, please. Por favor.
Yeah, we not doing that. We want to be safe and, you know,
safe.
Stay dangerous.
And but thrive at the same time.
That's a fact. So it's reported that 22% of Caucasians struggle with mental illness, and that's 5% more than our culture. In my mind, being that we've been through more, I feel like, than other cultures. How do you think that we're lower than Caucasians? And this is reported, by the way, from National Alliance of Mental Illness. I didn't just make that up. So
credit to
them. Credit to that site. So yeah, why do you think we're 5% less than Caucasians?
Have you ever answered one of those surveys?
No.
That I would say that's why. So I think our results aren't being reported.
Okay, yeah, I think that's yeah. And I think that goes back to the original question. Is like, we don't speak on it. You know, we're afraid to.
We literally push it further and further and further till it becomes like a boiling point where it's like it explodes and it's like, everybody get the brunt of the BS that you was going through. And I think that's definitely not the way it's supposed to be. Is meditation something good to do, you think? Or I mean, I never did any yoga, what's the upward down dog and all that other stuff. I mean, I did it before for a little bit, but I didn't take it seriously. But is that something that you can do to like help you with that type of stuff?
Absolutely. Meditation or any type of grounding, anything to help center yourself. So with anxious thoughts, even it's not being in the present moment, right? You're either in the past or in the future with what you're thinking about. So anything that brings you back to like right now can be really helpful. So that's why exercise can be so helpful. Even something as simple as deep breathing, like you said, meditating. That's why yoga is so helpful. Those things ground you. They force you to think about like what's right now.
Yeah, I think that's, like you said, that's the definition of anxiety. Like thinking too much about the future, thinking about too much in the past, and not being present in the moment.
Absolutely.
I think that I didn't even think about anxiety like that. I mean, you just think it's just like thoughts or whatever running through your mind. But when you break it down like that,
it's really anxiety.
Yeah, that's the definition. And that's scary though too, because like you can't control what you've already done, right? You can't control what's about to happen. So it's just almost like leave it alone, right? Like, like those are not, what you can control is what you should be focused on. And people forget, like, like I don't have control over that. I need to let that go, and play the cards that you were dealt. I don't know how many times I've said, like, I've always played the cards that I was dealt, whether it was good, bad, whatever, indifferent.
If you ain't got no spades, you ain't got no spades. You got to play it still.
You got the spades, it's lit, baby. I still play even when I don't got spades. So tell my spades players out there, if you know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going there, maybe. You know what I mean? I might still come out with a win.
Run a Boston.
When everything is against me, you know what I mean? Like, that's how you should really look at it. Like, like you just got to make the best of your situation. So, yeah, that was good. I like that answer.
What are some tips you would give to help yourself from losing control? I think we spoke about obviously working out, but what are some other things you could do that's not physical to help you from losing control if you going through that battle in your head?
I always say a couple extra seconds can be really helpful. If you really take some time to think and breathe and recalibrate almost yourself in those moments, it can be helpful. Literally, like if you're in a situation and something happens, take 5 extra seconds. Sometimes things happen so impulsively or so quickly that we're already in it, doing the reaction that's unhelpful before we even realize it. So a couple extra seconds to really breathe, to ground yourself, to explore what your emotions are, to explore, sometimes we're responding to things that happened before, like in the present moment.
The irrational beliefs you have, you're using those to help you for what you're doing with present day.
Yeah. Even the example that you gave earlier, if someone bumps into you.
Yep.
Right? Like if you don't take a couple seconds to think like, okay, maybe that was an accident.
Right.
Maybe
right. It's always like, nah, he did it. Right. He did it. Nah, what's up? Nah, you got to chill. That's not what happened.
Yeah. And also doing that regularly so that things aren't accumulating.
That is true, because, I mean, and I don't want to bring this up, but what we've seen at the Oscars, right? Yeah. You think about that, like, people been talking about that for months. And I think he got to a boiling point where he was like, all right, well, I'm going to make an example out of it. That wasn't the best thing, obviously. And, I mean, we see the aftermath about it. We ain't going to talk too much, but literally, that was literally a situation where he got to his boiling point. And
yeah, I mean, he's definitely been embarrassed a couple of times.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
I mean? Like, so I can... like that definitely wasn't the right place. But like you said, boiling over can happen at any given time.
You never know.
Right. We never know what all he was responding to. It might not have
yeah.
been just that joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No, it definitely was an accumulation. Like you said,
joke.
accumulation of everything. You want to make sure you get it early, because if it accumulates too much, then and they said like when you really shouldn't make decisions when you're angry, right? Because you're not thinking straight. You're literally not thinking straight. So there's no way you can give a rational solution or have an answer to a problem when you're extremely mad. That's why take them few seconds, and that makes sense. It makes sense now, right? Obviously, in the heat of the moment, you like, oh man, I need to handle this, but take that few extra seconds, man, to help you, could save your life for real.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. So I feel like we didn't touch on everything, but I feel like we got a good bulk of like the problems. Whether you know you have issues, whether you don't have issues, like seek help. Go to the doctor. It's like a regular checkup, right? Like you should be, as much as you take care of your physical body, you should be able to take care of your mental well-being. And just side note real quick, if you're talking to yourself and thinking through things, that don't mean you have like a mental illness, right?
No.
Except if you're talking to yourself, as long as you don't. Well, I think I answer myself too.
Yeah, I answer myself.
No.
Let's talk about that. Is that
no? So if you are hearing and seeing things that other folks aren't hearing and seeing, I would say that's when.
When you say hearing or seeing things, like voices talking to you.
Yes.
Okay.
But if it's your own voice.
Right, well, yeah.
If it's your own, that's you thinking. Okay. And that could actually be a very helpful coping skill called self-talk, where you're talking yourself through your experiences.
I didn't
Positive
know that was a
self-talk.
thing.
Right?
Yeah,
it's called self-talk. Yeah,
yes.
It's not. All right. I know everybody does that.
Let us know when it be, like, how do you know is
when self-talking is bad?
When self-talking is bad, or this is not it. How do you know that?
So, a good indicator is if other folks are telling you, like, the things that you're saying aren't really based in reality. Yeah. Okay. Everybody talks to themselves.
I'm ready to run off this bridge right now.
That ain't it.
If you're in a space where you're experiencing psychosis, most folks aren't aware that they're experiencing.
Right, I was just about to say that because like, they think it's normal.
Yeah.
Like
so that's why I said it's helpful. Other folks might start to tell you like, I'm noticing some things aren't right. So.
Okay, so if you like, you decide to like, get out the car and play in traffic, then probably something ain't right.
Something ain't right. Something ain't
clicking.
Yeah. So.
And mental health is on a spectrum. I wouldn't, everyone has ups and downs. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Being that you probably see hundreds of people, how do you balance that, right? Because you're dealing with people's own mental health issues, and then you probably got your own personal things in your own life going on, and then you're like, I gotta deal with this, and like probably seeing, I don't know, but 10 people a day, like just like managing, if more maybe, how are you managing all of the chaos of this, and like, what does your day look like, or what do you do to cope with that mental stress?
So I would say my schedule is the biggest thing that I do. So I'm very particular about how many people I see. I do not see 10 people a day.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't be able to
session. What are you gonna eat?
Yeah. So I'm very particular about how many people I see, and I also give myself breaks.
Okay.
And I allot for quiet time.
Okay.
I also see a therapist when I need to. I'm not in it right now.
The therapist sees a therapist.
Yes, but at times in my life when I need it, I do go. So scheduling, getting my own support, also giving myself time and space to process my emotions and how I'm responding to the content that I'm receiving from my clients. So it has to be a priority in order to keep me going. Yeah,
absolutely. Because I know even just on the day-to-day in my own career field, it's like dealing with multiple personalities kind of like gets me off sometimes, and that's just like regular day stuff. That's not. Sometimes people vent, but like it's nothing compared to what you do, just dealing with those personalities and their actual issues and concerns. So like, yeah, maybe I need to keep seeing a therapist.
Yeah.
It's good. Don't shy away from it. You know, we want to be as transparent with y'all as much as possible. So yeah, seek help. Don't be embarrassed, man. Don't be afraid of it. So you good.
Yeah, it's funny you say it about like you're dealing with people with multiple personalities because that literally can drain you, right? And what I do, like, it definitely could be draining. You know, you work with a lot of kids and things of that nature. What are some resources you may have for, or do you think there should be a need for more black therapists in, you know, the schools? Because a lot of the kids, they can't, like, a lot of them can't really, they don't know how to channel their emotions or their anger into something positive, right? A lot of us, you know, may seek sports or we may rap or things of that nature, but do you think there's a need for black therapists to be in schools a lot more?
Absolutely.
Especially urban schools? Absolutely.
I think they're starting to trickle in very, very slowly, but absolutely I think it's a great need for folks to engage with therapists that they feel connected to, and to make it a part of life, to normalize it, allow them to see it very young. You know, they don't have to wait till they're in their young adulthood in order to gain awareness about what they're experiencing. But start that as early as possible.
Yeah, because I think at 30 it's just like too late, right?
It's not too late.
It's not too late, but like
it should have been happening.
It should have exactly. You should have made it a part of your schedule or your routine. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'd say start from birth.
Right.
To start incorporating, teaching kids about their emotions and how they're responding to things. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think they do that at I think, you know, like my son is 4 and they definitely teach him about emotions and how you feel and things of that nature. But I think after maybe kindergarten, like that stuff is like obsolete. You know, a lot of people don't talk about it. And I think, you know, we live in Pittsburgh now, right? You see all the stuff that's happening in the streets. And a lot of them kids is like thinking it's normal and they become numb to it. So if you was to have those professionals in the schools on a day-to-day basis, talking to them, not just, you know, actually talking with them and try to work with them, like not stealing money or anything like that. When I say stealing money, like not doing your job, but I feel like it's really a need for it because them kids is going through stuff, man, and they obviously don't want to talk to the teachers because they don't feel like they have their best interests. They don't want to talk to maybe other staff, or they may have one or two few chosen people they want to talk to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't talk to your parents, and then like.
And your friends not gonna give you the bill.
Oh yeah, no, never your friends or your peers or whatever. But what I was gonna say is like a lot of, I didn't raise up in a 2-family home as far as like my mom and father was never in a home at the same time. So like that was an issue for me, you know, especially seeing other kids with their fathers and their mothers at the same time. That can also bring rage and anger out. You know that you like, yo, I don't got nobody to talk to. I don't have no guidance, and I think that played a big part for me too, you know what I mean, and not even seeing it later. Well, I see it now, but you know what I mean, as I was growing up in it, like I didn't realize how much that affected me, just not having that guidance or that extra word, like, yo, why did you do that? You know, like, just, and it'd be little stuff, like you just, life stuff, you're like, yo, you don't got your pops there to relate to it, you know, and then a lot of inner city kids are just dealing with that and are angrier and angrier because they don't have the guidance, and where they're looking for guidance is in the wrong place. You know, so that's deep. So I mean, I hate to be blunt about it, but if you've been raised in a broken family, like you should seek help. Yeah, like you should seek help, just straight like that. I mean, I don't even want to be too direct, but it is what it is, right? Yeah. So yeah. I mean, any other thoughts on that? I mean, please share.
It's really important. Like, dealing with these kids I deal with on a day-to-day basis, a lot of them, even when they have somebody they talk to, it don't be the right person. And they gravitate towards the wrong stuff. And they feel like, you know, all right, well, this group or these people are accepting me, then this is the way it's supposed to be. And then they really don't find out, or they might not even find out till later that, oh, I was doing this all wrong. So if we was to help them from the beginning, I think a lot of stuff would be better. It's just, you know, it's just sad. It's really not normalized in our community. And, you know, this episode here, we want to try to make mental health normalized in our community because it's so vital. It's so vital. We don't even know.
Yeah. Even, I mean, the adults that I'm working with and, you know, all of us, the stuff that we're dealing with was implanted at those very young ages. You know, so could you imagine what the world would look like if support and treatment started early?
Yeah. If it was normalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't shy away from it, y'all. Attack it head on, because you don't want to be in a situation and be like, why did that go left? And it's like, because you didn't internalize what was going on with you first, and that could be anything. So just, keep that in mind, y'all. Yeah. Seek mental health, be mentally aware of what you're going through. It's really important. So, just protect yourself, protect your mental health.
Do a lot of self-evaluation too.
Yeah, self-reflecting, whatever you got to do to get there. Just, especially as an adult, because when you're a child, it's like, all right, you got an excuse, but as an adult, I really don't see there to be an excuse. But everybody has their own journey, But if you're an adult, get your act right. So, with that being said, tell us where they can find you. We'll list a bunch of resources for y'all that y'all, if y'all want to tap in and be mentally aware, check that in the comments. We'll put that there. But yeah, if you have any resources, tell us where they can find you. Yeah,
so my website is holdingspaceandgrace.com. That's where you can find me. Also, I would say Therapy for Black Girls is a wonderful site. Therapy for Black Men is another site where these are directories with Black therapists listed on there. Also, Clinicians of Color is a website. Psychology Today is a website that you could put in different criteria to search for different folks. So those are just to name a few, but I'll pass along more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
And we're going to list y'all. So we hope y'all took this episode as seriously as we did. And we just want to make sure y'all good and y'all well-rounded and, educating yourself and just being aware of your surroundings, well-being, all of that. So to be in tune with your bodies and to be in tune with the world. So, yeah, I know that was good. Yeah, I know. That was a good one. Y'all can have that. So, on that note, thank you, Terry. We appreciate you for coming
Glad
through.
To be here.
Dropping
here.
gems and all that. See, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
We didn't stress you out too much, did we? We tried to make it flow, tried to make it easy for you. So we glad that you came. It's been a long time coming because, like Chad said at the beginning, we've been trying to get
since season 1.
You're busy, so since season 1, But nonetheless, you came through and showed us love, and gave our audience more than what they needed to, to cope with their issues. So
it's been a blessing to have you here and Culture Content.
Yeah, Kay,
Chaz,
Terry Patello.
Yes.
Patello. Yes. We are Culture Content. Another one coming to you. But we wrapping this up. So another one in the bag, y'all. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And go seek mental health, y'all.
For sure.
Take care of yourselves, man. And we out.
Like, comment, subscribe.